Well, hello. I have decided to make a video because I'm quite bored. I have a lot of time on my hands and I also wanted to do a vlog on my writing and also a bit of drawing habits in the last days. But this is just for general ramblings and to get some stuff out of my system. So I hope you enjoy it. I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. I'm just doing that because I want to do that. And yes, let me switch the camera and show you where I'm sitting because it's quite a nice place here. I've got like the one spot with sun in it and I'll just show you. So over there we have a football field. Here's a nice little tree, there's the sun, probably can't see it because it's bright. And yes, I am on the grounds of the psychiatric facility in Bedburg-Hau, where I'm stationed right now. There's some nice little trash. And yes, so I've been mentally unwell, otherwise I wouldn't be here, as you might guess. But that's not really the point of this video. It's about what helped me in the last days, because I did have a lot of fun and pleasure while being here and while expressing my creativity and creative habits and whatnot. So I started out quite slowly being here, didn't really know what to do. But soon enough I noticed how having so much time on my hand and being bored a lot of time of the day could also help me when I overcame those unpleasant thoughts I sometimes experience. And I started to draw a bit, which I usually don't do. I guess I did draw in my life, but not a lot. In kindergarten I was quite the drawing person, because I had no friends in kindergarten. So I just sat around and we have some cars here. I hope the noise won't be too disturbing. So I just sat around all day drawing stuff, like as you do, police cars and like houses, those motifs which are available to a 4-year-old. Yep. I also drew that thing connected to my book because I wanted to draw a scene out of my book, because for one I do know how that looks in my head, and also I still need a cover for my book. I do have a cover, but I'm not very happy with it, so I'm trying to make a new one. And originally I didn't think that I would be able to draw that cover myself, because as I said, I don't draw usually. But I'm quite happy with the result. You might see a screenshot or a photograph right here. It's not finished yet, but that is the state as it is right now. Actually, you might not see anything, because I might not edit this and just upload it to YouTube in one go, because I don't really have the material to edit stuff here. This car. Well, so I started drawing that, and then like 2 days ago I saw that very beautiful sunset and I started writing a poem about it. I might also read that poem later, but I don't think so, because I might not edit this at all. Anyways, I decided later to integrate that poem into my book, which I have almost finished, and I've almost finished it now for 4 months or something. but I'm still not happy, not quite happy, so I still want to edit it a bit more. Okay, so I did stop the recording for a second because I have crippling social anxiety and I cannot bear the thought of people looking at me while I'm talking to my phone and also filming them. So I didn't film anybody, but I might have if I had continued recording. Anyways, we're coming up to the forensics, which is where all the bad criminals with psychological problems are stationed. And I found the thought quite unsettling. I don't know, the image of so many people who are all crammed up in this, well, it's a prison, but it's a prison for special needs people, basically. I don't know, that makes me sad, I think. I don't really know what to think about that, but and there's also a lot of forensics buildings in this area, like I think 6 or 7 larger ones. I don't know how many people exactly are stationed there, but I don't know, it might be a couple hundreds, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. Yep. I really want to edit this video now, but I also just want to upload it. So you gotta, I guess you gotta live through those pauses where I don't have anything good to say. I did some research on the facilities here yesterday night because I couldn't sleep. And this whole thing was built in 1912. But it was actually already opened in 1911 because there were so many people who needed psychiatric assistance. Therefore, they decided to open it early, let 100 men, 50 women into these buildings. Of course, there have been some new buildings since then, but it is an interesting history. So, okay, I stopped the recording. I'll just pick up where I left off and take different routes so I have more time to talk about that. I quite like those buildings, they look quite pretty. Also they are, I think that's from 1912 as well, where the clinic was built. I don't know where the recording stopped exactly, but I'm just gonna continue where it just was. Speaking of capacity in this clinic, because it was built originally to house up to 2,200 patients, I think, if I remember it right. We have creative therapy. And later on in the Weimar Republic it was also... So the capacity didn't change really because there were no new buildings, but there's rooms designed for 22 patients at a time. So most houses were designed for 88 patients, which is 4 sections, 22 patients. But later on there were 136 patients in those buildings, I think in the Weimar Republic, if I'm not mistaken. During the First World War, there were also less men serving here because, of course, they had to go to war. They had to fight the war and do whatnot to protect the Germans, and, well, we know how that went, right? So women were first used in the men's facilities. Before that, there were strict rules against showing that. And cooperation. Okay, there was cooperation, but there was actually a how's that called? a channel without water in it. I don't know how it's called right now. A gap. A canyon. Just smaller. So that was built between the men's and the women's facilities. And all the people who were looking after the women were women as well, and also all the people looking after the men were men as well, except for some doctors who would also, so male doctors would also go to the women's facilities. Yes. And that changed after 1912 because 1914 because people needed to go to war. Also, the staff was mostly made up of reservists, is that called that way? So people who've been in the army before, who therefore needed to go to the war and had no choice. Who really did have a choice, right? Anyways, Weimar Republic, overcrowded houses here, overcrowded rooms. The people needed to share bathrooms mostly, and those were located in the cellar or basement, whatever you prefer. One more notable thing is maybe that on building this had the best heating distribution system in the whole of Europe, which was one central facility producing all the heat, and then over, I don't know what the square area of this whole place is, but might be more, I think it's more than a square kilometer, probably quite a bit more, I'm not sure. But it was distributed evenly to all the houses located here to provide heating for everyone and each and everyone. Besides the facilities of management and a kitchen, so there's a kitchen building, I will go to that later and show you, and also a cleaning building and stuff, and of course the housing for the patients. There was also housing built for the staff, because they assumed there wouldn't be enough houses to house all of the people who were supposed to work here, which were in the beginning only, I think, 150 per 1,000 patients. Like around that number, not quite sure. But yes, it was quite a small village before that. Since this facility was built, it expanded because new jobs, new people to look after the people who had new jobs as well. Supermarkets came, schools came, as well did kindergartens and other facilities you might want to see in your city. Therefore, it expanded quite a bit since 1912. Therapies which were done here were in the early days a lot of bed and bath therapies. A bath therapy is a kind of therapy where you put a person who is, let's say, a bit unruly, a bit, so it might be hard to control some patients because it's a psychiatric facility. And it might also be hard to talk reason to those people, but you also want to help them, right? There was separation. There's a car coming. I will just stop talking. Wait a second. There it goes. Okay, so there was a separation between the more chilled out patients, which I think I would fit into that category, and those which might be problematic. And for those patients, there was the bath therapy, which meant putting them in a bathtub full of water and leaving them in there for around 10 hours. Sometimes it was continued for even more than that, sometimes for days. I'm not quite sure how exactly that worked. I hope they were they were given an opportunity to eat and it's called excremate, shit and piss. I don't know the preferable word for that right now. But I don't know. Sometimes there were even enclosed bathtubs, like they were sealed off with some kind of lid or foil or something. I hope there was still air flowing into these things, but yes. During the First World War there also were a lot of deaths here. Once before, on the one hand, because there was of course food shortage, as was in the Second World War as well, but that's another story. I will get to that, because in the Second World War the food shortages were not what killed the people here, it was the Nazis, but that's for later. Yes, there were food shortages in the First World War here, and also tuberculosis, as you might expect to see anywhere around Europe, basically, around that time. I think I will continue my walk. And what did I want to say now? I don't know, I just skip about it. There was a lot of increase in the facilities in the Weimar Republic. Healthcare became more important again as the war stopped. There were also a lot of people from the war, of course, who had suffered psychologically. Although it is true that a lot of people were too proud or too stubborn as well to seek out for help. So if there was any way you could avoid going to these facilities, people often would do that. So that's also, I think, why there's quite a lot of forensics. Since this is a theater. I will get to that. I will just wait here until I can get to that. Yeah, so most people wouldn't want to go to these facilities. It's I guess slightly reasonable, but you should seek out for help if you need it, of course. Yes, I don't know what that house was built for, actually, but I think I am on the side of like the former female side, because the thing I just showed you was built to separate the genders. Yes. I don't need structure. Structure is overrated. Okay, so this is the theater where I have been, actually. I'm also in a theater, but not this one. It was originally built and occupied by staff members of the facilities. And there were plays put on for both staff members who were not in the theater, of course, and also patients for a long time. But these days it's a bit more self-standing. You're of course still invited to watch the plays if you are in these facilities. But yeah, it's more self-standing. I've been here on a school trip, actually, at one point, which was quite scary because I knew we were driving to the psychiatry for the crazy people, as I saw them these days. I didn't know what would happen to us as little school kids. I think now that, of course, there are some unpredictable people, but I would like to believe that you can talk reason with most of humanity, even with those who need psychological help. I mean, I need psychological help, that's why I'm here, right? Of course, there's different cases of psychological illnesses, but whatever. I'm losing my point. There were also other things made here. That's very general. So there were in 6 week. Fuck. My vocabulary is failing me. I don't know why. So every 6 weeks there was also a little festival for the staff as well as the patients who were allowed to leave and who could behave to some degree. Therefore we have like a field here where those festivals take place. This, I believe, is one of the living quarters for the staff, if I'm not mistaken. And we're generally in the area for that, but also I think to the left are still some buildings who were at least formerly used to house patients. Nowadays I'm not quite so sure about that. Yes. Oh, here's also a mini golf course. So there are still recreational activities. I mean, of course, those must be present for some people to heal. I mean, let's be honest, you can't just put someone in a clinic, therapeutically evaluate them, and then say, oh, you're healed. There gotta be some structure, there gotta be some fun activities as well, especially for people who are not that good at experiencing fun and being happy. You gotta give them something. Yes, there are people coming. Don't know if I should continue or not. Don't really want to. Guess I will just pause this for a couple of minutes. Okay, let's return to the history of this place. Where did I leave off? I think it was about Weimar Republic, right? So the Nazis took over in Germany in 1933. Immediately said people who have illnesses which can be passed on to, which can be inherited, right? Those people, we don't want them. We're not gonna kill them yet. We're gonna castrate them, sterilize them, so they won't ever have children who suffer as they did, and also who Nazis, I think, were a bit more selfish, so we don't have people who are bothering our economy, our state, the Aryan race as well, because you need to be pure, you need to be healthy, you need to be the perfect muscular, blonde, blue-eyed guy. I still think this place is so fucking pretty. Can't stress that enough. Don't know if I would film it otherwise. Yes. Okay, so 750 people, around 750 people were sterilized here in 1933 and the following years. Oh, I missed something earlier. First World War, this was also a hospital for patients of war. So people who got injured in the war were brought here, were treated, not for psychological needs, I mean maybe also, but mostly physical problems that might arise in war. At least I've been told so. I I heard it might happen sometimes that people get injured in war. I don't know why that is. Yes. Nazi time. Oh, here's the central for ergotherapy, which is occupational therapy. Okay, people were brought here. People were... Where the fuck was I? Never fucking mind. Okay, so Second World War. Not yet, but Nazis had already taken over. 1939. The war started. Nazis getting kind of desperate. Launched the euthanasie program, which means as much as a happy, fulfilled death in Greek, which is a bit cynical because they killed people, but said it is for the best of them because they are suffering, because they have mental illnesses which cannot be cured. It's not like they tried a lot to cure them, it's not like they tried a lot to provide a good life for those people. They just said, those people, they don't provide any value for our society, we're gonna kill them. Thus, they boarded trains, they were sent off to special concentration camps. Oh god, I have this horrible special need concentration camps. It's basically that. Yes. I'm gonna pause for a second again. Okay. So pretty here, which is also, I suppose, for the benefit of the people treated. At least it helps me, I gotta say. To take a walk through those woods, see is it called a grove? I'm not sure. To see the thing which once divided male and female patients right here. Like a physical divide. Like, that's a lot of trouble to separate the genders. Euthanasie program started in 1939. People boarded trains for the special needs concentration camps. Most people who were here formerly in the Weimar Republic, which was about, if I'm not mistaken, 3,800, around that number, were sent off. The first load of them was around 1,000, if I remember right, were all killed. Then later, in 1941, Hitler got some doubts for some reason. I mean, the reason is that the public did not really like having their relatives who are suffering killed, you know. So, he did scale down a bit for a year, but in 1942, with the war also slightly turning against the favor of Germany, they picked back up. All in all, there were some people who survived, who were only sent off in 1944, I think. I read this yesterday evening, being quite sleepy, so if I remember something wrong, that is how it is. But yes, then for some time after the war, it was also used to house, if I'm right, British soldiers who were occupying this area of Germany for these days. There was also a train still running from Cleves, which is the larger town close by. It's still not a big it's still not a big city. It's merely a city. And there was also a food locomotive which did not run on oil or other combustion stuff. It ran on basically heat and gas. I'm not really sure how it worked. It wasn't described in great detail. But yes, I think I will continue my tour on another day because I still have some things to say and also to show, because all of these things look so fucking pretty. Look at the at these leaves growing up that old building. Very nice combination. Of course, that was built in the 1970s, as were most of the extensions which are found here, which all look like that. I mean, look at the contrast. This and this. Like, what the fuck, people? This was built in 1912, right? Or originally built. Maybe it was rebuilt after the war, but it looked somewhat like that in 1912. This in 1970. Oh, there's some hot air balloon. Might just show that. There it grows. There it goes. Nice. Okay. I really gotta go back now, because I'm not allowed to stay outside the clinic for a very long time. But yes, I might continue that tour at some point, continue talking. I don't even know why I'm afraid to seem weird by talking to my phone. On the one hand, we are in the age of digitalization where it is quite usual to talk to your phone and also take videos and everything like that. And also, I am literally in a facility for crazy people. How unusual could it be for a person walking around talking to their phone? That is not even crazy behavior. That is completely same behavior, still I cannot bring myself to do it. Which is probably crazy behavior, which is why I'm here. Well, it's not exactly why I'm here. Okay, I gotta go now. Goodbye.